So, yeah, welcome to the course, everyone. Just to give you a very brief overview of what the course is, then, is excuse me. We call ourselves Ludic Language Pedagogy because there's three things that we focus on in the papers that we publish in the journal, and we think that there's these three core tenets of language teaching, essentially, with games and ludic activities. So we're going to look at them in kind of reverse order. We're going to look at pedagogy next week, which is, well, how do we teach? How do we teach? What are the approaches to teaching that exist? So we'll be thinking about things like PPP, TBLT, CLT, all these different acronyms, multiliteracies, connected learning. And so we're going to try and think about our pedagogical literacies next week. Like, how do we actually teach? Following that, week number 3 is Ludic. So the Ludic for us, I'll introduce this briefly today, what we mean by this, but we'll be looking at, well, what exists out there in terms of play and games. For us, we think that a lot of the research is on digital games, and of course that is one element of gaming, but we're going to look at things like board games, play, discussions, so all sorts of different games. So the second week is how do we teach, the third week is what kind of games and play activities exist, and then the fourth week we'll be looking at language. So what do we mean by language and teaching a language? What skills should we be teaching? And naturally, the fifth week is putting all of these three things together, and we hope that you'll be able to create some kind of lesson plan based on a ludic element, a language element, and a pedagogical element. So, for example, you could use what Catherine and Rose use, Minecraft. So your ludic element could be Minecraft to teach exam preparation would be the language, and the pedagogy would be perhaps you use a PPP approach. So putting these three things together to create a custom lesson plan. Now, the custom lesson plan hopefully is not just random, but something that you'd take away and actually be able to use in your teaching. So that's the idea, that through the course, through the 5 weeks, you'll be able to take something away with you and use it in your own context. And then us, as LLP, the journal, selfishly, we'd like to invite you to then write up your experiences of how did it go, if it went well or if it didn't go well. Either is fine. I think that we need lots more data on how people are actually teaching with games and what the pitfalls might be, what the good parts are. So yes, as a kind of 6th week and beyond, is as a community member, we'd love to hear how you actually put that lesson plan into action and how it went. So yeah, that's an overview of this course. Have I missed anything? Rose, Catherine, please let me know if I miss anything. Seems good.
No, I think you have given an overview of the basics, what we're going to cover along the next few weeks. I think it's also useful if anyone has any questions at this point. I mean, very specific questions. It can be, about even Discord itself or channels, or even the activities that you have seen. So, just feel free to go ahead and grab the mic and let us know. That will be maybe a time now so we can show you in practice.
Yeah.
Like visually, right?
Absolutely. I mean, some people may be not familiar with Discord. I mean, everyone here has obviously managed to figure it out, but yeah, there's a lot of new tools that you're perhaps getting used to. So if you get overwhelmed, please let us know. We're here to help. One thing about Discord we should mention is that it's originally designed, if you didn't know, it's originally designed as a kind of voice chat tool for gamers. It was originally published, or it was considered like this Skype killer, or TeamSpeak, Ventrilo. It was supposed to take over from all of these other platforms, and it did. It really did just take over. And so essentially what you've got in Discord here is text channels and then voice channels, and obviously now they have video as well. and maybe a lot of your students know about Discord because they use it to play games or to chat with their friends while they're gaming and stuff. So as a teacher, it's probably a useful platform to know about as well. All right, let's have a look.
Are we playing today?
Do you want to start now? Do you want to jump straight into Spyfall?
No, I don't know. I'm just asking.
yeah, that's the plan. On the course,
I made a stop on my trip just to come and join you guys. So.
Okay, I don't want to keep Rose too long. Then it seems like she wants to play. So Discord, everyone seems to have joined okay with Rose's wonderful onboarding tool here. The course overview, we've looked at, what we're going to do, and I guess let me jump down to here. Sorry, here we go. So if you can see, let me just check what you guys are seeing. Yeah, you can see this document. On the sidebar of the document, we have a kind of, what do you call it? A legend where the red dot is like the week. The book emoji means reading, and then the check mark is a kind of activity for the participants. Please note that the course book that I'm sharing here, we only have week 1 content. This is an idea to put each week's content in as it becomes that week, basically, so as not to overwhelm you all. So this week we're going to do this reading activity, and then at the bottom there are these check activities for you to do. I'll let you do this one afterwards. Basically, it's a Google form. We need some demographics, not for us personally, but actually for the EVO. They asked us to collect some demographics. So there's a form for you to fill in just to let us know about who's taking the course, essentially. There's a self-introduction on Discord, which a lot of you I know have already done. And I'd like to do this one as part of the sync session, this create your own player worksheet. I know that there's been a few people kind of stealing each other's worksheets and stuff, so we'll just look at that very briefly about what to do. So there is, on the worksheet, it says step 1, there is a folder called participant files. Let me share this in Discord with you in the general chat. Actually, no, it's, if you look on Discord in the docs and tutorials text channel, you can click on there and you can see there are 2 shared documents so far. There's the actual course content, which we've just been looking at, and below that there is the LLP Player Worksheet directory. If you click the link there, you should open to what I'm showing on on my screen right now. By the way, in Discord, to flick between channels, you have to scroll down and press back on the meeting room to see us here. Jump up to the tutorial channel again to see what's on the tutorial channel. So yeah, you have to kind of navigate Discord at the same time. So if you look at my screen again, you'll see that, let me just zoom in here. We have this this folder of our player worksheets. Now this player worksheet is something that you'll be filling in every week as we go through the course. Default view of the folder is that the worksheets look like this, and it's not easy to see what's what. So I always recommend clicking this button in the top right. Sorry, I get my left and right mixed up quite a lot. So yeah, the top right, there's a button that says list view. If you change to list view, you should see that there's a file right near the bottom which says your name here. And what we're going to do with this is right click. This is assuming that you haven't done it yet, by the way. So if you right click this file that says your name here, as I'm doing, you'll have a menu which says make a copy. You're going to make a copy, and you'll have a file that appears in this folder which says copy of file, and the owner will say me, as in you've just created that copy. Once you've done that, for example, let's say that this is my copy, I'm going to right click the copy that I made and then rename it. I'm going to rename it so that my name goes in the box where it says your name here. So for example, I'll put James York. And once you've done that, you should have a copy of our player worksheet. I can see, yep, we've got Mike, he's done it. Victoria, Veronica, Carlos, Daisy, okay, yep. Yep, F is on, yep. Anybody not done it? Kevin Ryan, yeah, that's good. Well, anyway, there is an instruction of how to do that on the worksheet here. So if you get some time later and you haven't done it yet, please check this this wonderful little YouTube video that I made. Finally, on the worksheet, there are 3 activities for you to do. The first one is about you on the player worksheet. So once you've created your player worksheet, there are some activities. And just to explain how these work, again, there's a color code. The dots are the weeks, and then there's I nearly said Marubatsu, but it's not, is it? It's a cross and a check. So you can click on the activity here, and then fill in the details. And then our idea for the player worksheet as a kind of visual guide is that once you've done the activity, you remove the cross, and you can go, okay, I've done that one. Right, so you can just keep a check of what you've done and not done. So yeah, these crosses and checks are not. You should kind of remove one to show when you've done it. And so the 2 activities this week are just to give us some more information about yourself. So think about your own game, language, and pedagogical interests, your contexts, what you've learnt, and then just some questions to think a bit about how you're currently using games or what you'd like to do. And that's the first week activities. Second activity for the first week is to do this skills can do knowledge chart. Let me just mute Ola here. So there are some questions or some statements, and we'd like you to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 of how well you do or don't know these things. So I can talk about different types of games, for example. You can give yourself a rating from 1 to 10, or 0 to 10, sorry, or something like I can use Discord. So this is the before, and then at the end of the course, we're going to do this again to see if there's any improvement in your metacognition, if you like, your awareness of different aspects of teaching with games and play. Okay. Right. So I think that as teachers, we all know that it's probably best to learn through experience. So I'd like us to now, as a team, experience what it's like to play a game and that uses language, and then think about the affordances of that game for language learning, language teaching. And it gives us something fun to do, right? We've been talking here, 45 minutes? So actually, Daisy mentioned this game during her self-introduction, which is Spyfall. Did you play it using this site, I wonder, Daisy?
No.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay. Right.
It's whatever came up when I Googled it.
Okay. So, Spyfall. Would you like to explain what is Spyfall, Daisy? Give the participants something to do here.
My students had to teach me how to play it, and I'm still not 100%. So I'm like the last person to be explaining this.
Okay. Let me change that to screen 1. There we go. I do want my webcam on there though, so I'm just using this for the. Whoa, that's a big webcam. Sorry, for the recording, I'm just moving things around so it's easier to see. You don't need to see my face that big. Oh, you guys can see this as well, right? Yeah, okay.
You need a code, right? Something like that.
Okay. There we go. Okay. Let me explain what Spyfall is. I'm just going to unmute people. Okay.
Unmute. What do you need?
Oh no, I just server muted Ole here. So
I can take care of that. You know, I keep an eye if necessary. I
appreciate
can
it.
Remute. Yeah.
Right. So again, looking at my screen, you should be able to see this website that says "Welcome to Spyfall." Is that correct? Sorry, I'm a bit all over the place with screens and what I'm actually showing. In fact, you know, because I've played Spyfall so many times, I actually have a rules introduction here. So please check on Discord. Please check my screen. Yeah, well, there we go. Infinity again. I love it. So, what is Spyfall? And be aware that this introduction to the game is something that I do in class quite a lot. Again, I work in the Japanese context, so presenting the game in English. We'll think about this later, but it's kind of a TBLT kind of priming activity. So I'm actually just going to explain the game to you guys, so that in order for us to play. Why is my screen going mental? Let's just look at rows instead. There we go. Beautiful. So Spyfall, on the title slide here, it says, "What are you holding, and when will you leave?" Now these are super important questions for this game. Essentially, this game is a question asking game. So these are very important questions, and you should keep them in mind for when we actually play. So what is this game? A simple overview of the game. The players are at a certain location. They are at one location. All players are at one location. This could be the bank, the hospital, the university, or the supermarket, and so on. Each round of the game is a different location. So round 1, maybe you're at the bank. Round 2, maybe you're at the supermarket, etc. Each round is around 8 minutes long. It depends on the website, but yes, each round is a limited amount of time. Each of the players has a card. Now this is actually a physical game. I don't think I have it near me, but in the physical version of the game, each player will get a card, and the card has a location name written on it. For example, you'll receive just a single card, you'll look at it, and it will say the bank, for example. These people, or these players who can see the location name, are called the non-spies in this game. So if you know the location, you are a non-spy. However, among the players, one of the player cards does not say the location, does not have the location name written on it. This is the spy. So if you can imagine, I have 8 cards. 7 of those cards will say bank. 1 of the cards will say spy. We shuffle them, hand them out to all the players. So 8 of those players will know that this location is the bank. 1 of the players will not know the location. It will just say spy. Now players ask each other questions to figure out who is the spy. So they're trying to find out who does not know the location based on the answer to questions that are asked. Okay. I'm just going to pop Rose over there.
It seems like the Among Us, right? Like the imposter.
There is, yes. This is, in terms of game genre, this is what we'd call a hidden role game. So yes, in that sense, they are similar in that one of the characters is different to everybody else, and we're trying to find out who that different person is. Yes, we have Among Us, we have this, we have Werewolf. You know, there's many games, Mafia. There's many games like this of this particular style. And again, this is something we're going to do afterwards. But in terms of language teaching, we're going to think about what kind of activity this is. So we won't talk about it yet, but yeah. So back to the game, we have a limited set of locations. We can only be here. We can only be in the airplane or the space station or the circus tent, the supermarket. These are the locations where we can be. Okay. Next, as I briefly introduced just now, this is what a deck of cards looks like. So we'll have 8 or 7 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, 7 people will know the location. 1 person will be the spy. Also, in the original version of the game, we can role play. So each person can role play as the role that is on their card. We won't do that today, and I save the role play for more advanced students. But just keep in mind that you can role play this. Today we'll just look at the location itself. Anyway, this is how the game works. Are you with me so far? Any questions so far? Actually, any questions?
Nope.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so this is how the game works. One person, or the start player, they must ask a question to another player. Okay, the question here is used by both parties. Okay, the non-spies are using the questions, and the spy is using the questions for different purposes. The non-spies, the blue cards, they are using the question to try and discover who the spy is. The spy themselves are using the question to gain information about the location. They want to know the location. Okay, so they're going to use the question to gain this information. Here's a play example. Bob starts the game. He says, "Do you come here often?" And he's asking this question to a specific person. Okay, you have to say, "Oh, I'm going to ask Sarah," or "I'm going to ask Andrew." So Bob is saying, "Okay, Sarah, do you come here often?" Now, in this case, Sarah, she's going to role play as the clerk here, and so what do you think her answer might be? If you are at the bank and you're a clerk, and you get asked, "Do you come here often?" How would you answer this question? Anybody?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. That's yeah. Exactly. So she says yes. She says 5 times a week. Seems good. For her, that's fine. Now Jerry here, of course, the spy, he can start to make predictions, start thinking about where the location might be. Remember, there is a limited set of locations, and all the players can see this list. So Jerry is looking at this list, and he's saying 5 days a week? Definitely not the space station. Okay, it's not something you go to 5 days a week, okay? Probably not the pirate ship, yeah? You can't have the weekends off if you're a pirate. So the spy is kind of crossing out areas that they think is not the location. So anyway, here we go, back to the game. Jerry is saying, maybe the supermarket. Okay, starts to think. Now, the way that the game works is once you are asked a question, the person who was just asked a question can now ask somebody else, but they cannot ask the person who, I've missed a word here, who just asked them. So, for example, Sarah is now the person with the question. She cannot ask Bob, but she can ask these other players. So Sarah now, she's asked Tony, "What are you holding?" Okay, again, I'll ask you guys, what do you think Tony will answer here? In the bank, what are you holding?
A credit card.
A credit card. Okay, that's a great answer. Tony has said here, "My purse." Okay, good answer. Another good answer. Of course, Jerry is still thinking, if Tony is buying something, it must be the supermarket. So this answer from Tony has kind of cemented the idea that it's the supermarket in Jerry's mind. And of course, Sarah is replying, "Okay, I see." It's not a bad answer, right? For Sarah, she doesn't suspect Tony. The answer matches the description of the bank for her. So it's okay, that's a good answer. Now, of course, it's Tony's turn. Tony says to Andrew, "Can you buy food here?" And Andrew, of course, because Andrew knows that this is the bank, he will give the correct answer. No. Yeah. And this shatters Jerry's hypothesis, Jerry's idea of where the location is. It can't be the supermarket. If you can't buy food here, So he can cross off another location on his list. Okay? And the game continues like this, asking questions. So how do we win? There's two ways to win. You can win during the round, or you can win at the end of the round. So during the round, if the spy guesses the location, for example, if I'm the spy and I say, okay, stop, I'm the spy, this is the bank. If I am correct, I get 4 points. This is the best way to win as the spy during the round. Stop the round and guess the location correctly. Also during the round, if the non-spies, for example, if in this case, if everybody thought that Jerry was suspicious, they can say, okay, stop. We all think you're the spy, Jerry. Are you the spy? If they find that Jerry is the spy, they win. So the spies, if they guess the non-spy during the round, the first person to accuse that person gets 2 points, and the other players get 1 point. So yeah, you can win during the round. At the end of the round, it's a kind of free vote. So let's say 8 minutes has passed. We don't know who the spy is, or the spy has not come out and tried to guess the location. At the end of the round, we vote. So we all point to somebody who we think is the spy. The person with the most votes reveals their card. And if that person is the spy, the non-spies win. If that person is not the spy wins. So there is a voting system at the end of the round. And that's it, basically. That's how the game works. Any questions?
Excuse me, James?
Yes.
What if the spy is asked the question?
Then you have to act like you know the location. That's the tricky part. But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Even if you know the location, you don't want to answer too precisely. Okay, for example, it was Carlos, I think. Carlos said, I have a credit card. This is a very big hint to the spy, because you think credit card, bank. It's a very close connection. So we'll play this game, Sahet, and you'll see that you have to be kind of careful with your information. You don't want to give too much of a hint, because that's giving information to the spy, but you don't want to give too little, because then you look suspicious. So it's got a nice balance to it. Okay? So in other words, even if you're the spy and you give some vague answer, people are like, yeah, maybe they're just, not giving too much information. So yeah, you'll see. So I invite some of us to play this. I think it's about 8 players maximum. So let's have a look here in general chat. In fact, I'll just I'll make a new game and I'll invite people. James, join. This is my access code. I think I can click this. No, it's there. Okay. So I'm going to share a link in the general chat channel. If you'd like to play with us, please click the link and create a username. In fact, I'm just going to drop the bit rate of this Discord room. I just noticed that Fzon has had some sound issues. All right, we've got 5 people so far. I think one more person can join. Catherine is here. 7. Yeah. Okay. By the way, with 8 players, it's kind of difficult because, excuse me, the information doesn't get around very quick. Okay, so we've got 8 players here. I'm going to leave this open for everybody else to see. And in fact, everybody that's, even if you're in the game, Barbara, Carlos, Mike, Sahet, Fzon, Catherine, and Rose. You can check my screen still, just so we can show others how it works. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start the game.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
We start the game. Can we ask any question?
Yes, we can. Yes, any question is fine.
So can we point blank? Where are you?
You
Or
can't.
that,
if you say where are you, then the spy gets the answer immediately. So perhaps not a great question. Whoa! Holy screen. Okay. So for everybody that's not in the game, you can see that we have these characters at the top. James, Carlos, Sahet, and you can see that. I'll zoom in a little bit actually, so you can see better. At the very top of the screen, it shows you if you are the spy or not. In this case, it says that I am not the spy. And if you're not the spy, you can see the location. Okay. You also have a role, but for this game, we're going to ignore the role. So it says the location here. I'm not the spy. I'm in the submarine. Okay. Who is the spy, by the way? This is just a practice game. Who is the spy in this game? If you're the spy, at the very top it will say you are the spy. Who is that? Someone doesn't want to come forth.
I am not.
I am not.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
I'm not either.
I'm not either, and I'm to ask the first
The
question.
spy is hiding somewhere. Come on, come out.
Yeah, we're not. This is just a practice. So.
Just practice.
Well, I'm not.
Oh,
Well, somebody...
where is the spy? Do we have to get?
Well, anyway, we're gonna
Is that you?
Of course not. I'm public with my information. Anyway, just to continue.
Oh, no.
So
Okay,
you have the
not
information at the top here. You have the players list here, and you have the location list.
Sorry, that's me. I'm the spy. My connection is slow.
It's okay. Some of the affordances of the website here is that if you are, for example, not the spy, you can click players' names to cross them off your suspicious list. So, for example, here I think it's either Catherine or Rose, right? If you can cross out the other people. If you're the spy, you can start to cross out locations that you think are not the location where you are. Okay. So I'm going to end the round, and I ask, who have we got here? Barbara, Carlos, Mike, Sahe, Fzon, Catherine, and Rose. Please do not look at my screen, because I am going to leave my screen open to the other members in the Discord channel here. Okay.
Okay. I'll leave you my. I think it's a good idea to leave your mic on and then just look at the game screen.
Yes, please do.
All right.
Right. I'm going to start again. Ready? Here we go.
Yeah. Looking for. So, okay. Where's the game? Oh, you restarted.
I restarted it now, yeah. So we have Mike as the first question asker. So Mike, if you'd like to ask anybody here a question to try and get some information.
Okay,
Mine is even Portuguese.
I'll play it safe. Bard, what are you holding?
Good question.
Me?
Yeah. Yes.
What am I holding? I'm holding a cocktail.
A cocktail?
Yeah.
A cocktail? A cocktail. I think Rose is the spy.
Are you playing, James?
Yes, I'm in the
Are you going
game.
to guess?
I think Rose is the spy. Does anybody agree with me? Mike?
Yeah, I agree because I'm the bartender.
What?
Don't know if I should have said that.
Okay, sorry.
And who asked the next question?
I don't think Rose is the spy. I got the location wrong.
Okay. You got the location wrong, James.
No.
Oh, that's sus.
No, we're good.
That's
Okay, so Rose, it's actually Rose's question now because she was asked. So
Okay.
Okay, so let me see. Carlos, what do you see?
good question.
Oh, I'm seeing a piano in front of me.
Okay, Carlos, now it's your question.
All right, let me think. Catherine, where are you? Oh no, you have to bad question. Are you with someone?
Are you with someone?
Oh, I'm with the machine.
With a machine. Interesting.
I'm thinking about the question, okay? Am I a suspect? Oh,
Everybody's a suspect.
I can't hear Catherine.
All right.
No, the weird thing is my screen is in Portuguese. So I'll have to
Okay, so let me see. Head. What are you thinking about? Can you hear me? Oh,
who are you asking to?
Sahet.
Okay.
should I repeat my question?
I can't hear Sahit.
Oh, so I have to ask a question, right?
You have to answer.
Oh, sorry. What was the question I missed? Excuse me.
What are you thinking about?
Whom am I with?
No.
What are you thinking?
Couldn't you please repeat
What are
the
you
question?
thinking about? What are your thoughts? What's on your mind? What's the plan?
Excuse me, I missed your question. Couldn't you please repeat it again?
What's on your mind?
Like, what are you thinking?
I think he's got connection issues.
Can you hear me?
Yes, what am I thinking about, right?
Yes. That's it.
Yeah, really tricky.
Sorry about the dog.
Sorry, what to cook?
What to cook?
Oh, what to cook? That's interesting.
Okay, Sahet, it's your question.
So my question is to James.
Yep.
What are you wearing on now?
What am I wearing? Well, it's the evening, so a nice tuxedo or something. It's safe, right? It's safe. Okay. Let's ask Barbara. Are you there, Barbara?
Yes.
Okay. Are you moving?
No, I'm sitting.
Okay, I see.
And who's left?
Efzon.
Epson.
I think it's disconnected, it says.
It says disconnected.
Okay, then you can ask
here?
anybody, yeah.
Okay.
Hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not disconnected.
Here it says disconnected, but well.
Can I buddy?
I ask you, and then you follow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
My question is, do you wake up very early in the morning?
Good question.
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
I wouldn't.
Sir. Who's answering it?
Efzon's question.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Who? Can I ask anybody but?
So Barbara,
Other than Barbara,
Efferson
yes.
is going to. Oh, okay. Going to answer.
So anybody but.
Oh, 23 seconds.
That's right, yeah.
I'd like to ask Mike, are you having fun?
Yeah, I am actually. It's having lots of thoughts about what's going on, but yeah.
All right.
Okay, so Catherine, how was your ride to work this morning?
Could you repeat your question, please?
How was your ride to work this morning? How did you get to work this morning?
On foot?
Nice.
On foot?
On foot.
All right. So that's the end of the round. Now we all vote on who we think is the spy. So I invite you to write the person's name in Discord general chat text channel. This is the easiest way to do it. So
Okay.
I don't think it's Mike.
Okay.
Yeah, of course, right, Rose. I knew that was coming. Mike, I don't think it's Mike.
Oh, really?
So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so it looks like Mike has the most votes. 1, 2, 3. So Mike, are you the spy?
No, I said I was a bartender. Gave my position away when we first started.
Oh yeah, I don't remember. It's because you asked
The bartender.
what about driving.
Yeah, because
It was a
Catherine
trick
said she
question.
walked.
Yeah.
Yeah, Catherine said she walked. How can you walk to work on on the ocean liner?
Yeah,
So
that's
maybe
what I thought.
he's yeah.
I mean,
Unless
but
you
if
walk from a
you
room.
walked from your room to your work.
So okay,
From one deck to another on foot.
But not be.
who was the spy?
Me. You're
Efferson.
right, Catherine. And you're right, Barbara.
According to mine, say you are not the spy. It's not me.
So there we go. That's the end of the round.
Was it Barbara?
It was Efzon.
Efzon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? Oh dear. And Barbara got it.
Good game.
Ooh.
GG.
Yeah, good game.
Right. So that was our experience of the game. Now I'd like to try and transition that into thinking about the game in terms of its potential for language teaching. So let me just flick my screen back here. Which one is it? That one. Okay. We don't have to write. I can write some notes up afterwards. But okay. Let me ask you first of all. Let me go back to there. From the player's perspective, how was that? How was that session? Was it difficult? Was it easy? Were you confused? How did it go?
It's super important to get the rules and get a practice round, and I am sure that next time it will be easier and faster.
Okay. So therein lies a very, very important point for what we'd like to try and push a little bit at LLP here, is that you definitely need to do these things more than once, right? Even as an experienced game player, the first time you play a new game, you're never performing at your best, right? Now, we're all experienced language teachers, and of course, actually, I think a good 50% of you were playing this in your second language. So even as experienced language learners or teachers, to play this game in the second language is a very big hurdle, a very big bar. So Barbara, thank you for mentioning that. That maybe the next time you play would be more smooth. Yes. If there's anything you take away from this whole course, it's that we're going to do things at least twice. Okay, so do it again is a great point here. Thank you. Yeah. Any more comments on the gameplay from a participant perspective?
Well, I think it's mega useful to even get them thinking about, pre-teaching questions, question forming, what kinds of questions can you ask, which would help get the tension levels dropping. Like, tell you the truth, I thought, oh my God, what am I going to ask?
Yes.
So personally, I Googled it, best questions to spyfall, and that helped heaps.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
Yeah, Mike, that's
yes, I think that
fantastic
maybe,
point.
sorry, an idea that came to my mind, that maybe one round we can play yes, no questions, and in another round we can play open questions. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
And then mix them.
Absolutely brilliant. Mike, actually, I use this game in my class for about 5-6 weeks, and the homework session after the initial play session is exactly what Mike just mentioned. I tell my students that even as a native speaker, we struggle to find questions to think of in this game. Go home, search Google, check Reddit, and bring your best questions to class and share it with your group. So yes, that's a great point. This takes the experience to then looking at reading and in fact, you'll find that it not only helps them with the reading by going to search for questions, but it helps them with their idea of the culture of English, because some of the questions that come up are quite bizarre, and they're very culturally specific, especially if you're looking on Reddit. So they can learn about memes and stuff as a follow-on to actually playing the game here. So yeah, that's a great point, Mike. Thank you. Any other comments?
I had never used this game in my classes. In fact, even though I knew we were going to play, I kind of I want to go through the same experience that the participants of this session was going to go through, And if I were to use it in my class, I would definitely, as preparation, create put my students in groups, prepare just some cards with the same way we saw the interface, right? And just distribute, tell them to look at it, and kind of ask them, just you did with us, in the first time when we were looking at the interface and kind of exploring, and you were explaining the rules, brainstorming on the board as many questions as possible, or maybe together as a group, I could give them a place for them to come up with, just as a preparation, a warm up, to get kind of primed with questions, prepared for it. I would certainly do it, and then run the game just to get the feeling for the dynamic, and then play a second time for the fun part of it, maybe a third.
Yeah.
Because it's very quick, isn't it? I mean, if you see, it's 80 minutes, but so much language is generated. It can be generated, and it's really, really fun. Yeah, I think that's what I would do, definitely.
Yep, pre-teach, brainstorm, Another great point here that Rose is picking up on is the fact that this game is very quick. It's it's 8 minutes, 10 minutes.
Really love that.
Which means that you can
already thinking how I'm going to implement in Minecraft. Teleporting people to different rooms.
So yeah, you can repeat it and you play with different people. Of course, there's it's kind of you can be quite agitated or anxious if you're the spy on the first round. So there is a different version of this where there are actually two spies, where you have a kind of person that's in on it with you. So two spies kind of lowers that level of anxiety. But yeah, so just to kind of transition into what kind of skills do you think we're looking at with this kind of game in the classroom? Oh, you don't have to be a participant now, by the way. Anybody that has any ideas about the
guessing.
Yeah, sure. Who was that?
Skills as in like language skills, speaking skills, and
there we go. Yep. So
question writing.
Yeah, that's one. Speaking. We've got question formation.
Speaking, listening, right? Because you have to listen to understand.
Yep.
Listening, yeah.
There is also the vocabulary also. For example, I didn't remember what was a one-liner. I know I ocean liner. I did have a guess, but I didn't remember exactly. So I searched on the images to get what it was.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Barbara mentioned remixing the game. I have a colleague who has thought about remixing this game not to be locations, but maybe countries instead. So you could remix this game if you're in the classroom with instead of using locations, it could be you're all in Tunisia. Talk about it and then figure out where you are, or something like this, right? So you could remix the game based on other things rather than just locations.
Yeah, one colleague of mine used some glasses, and she had a little figure of Messi, a football player, and she put Messi under a glass, and she said, "Where is Messi?" And the glasses said supermarket, restaurant, whatever, and they have to ask, are you buying food? No, I'm not. So I put this away. It's another another version.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
So there's
yeah, please.
There's quite a lot of retrieval involved in the vocabulary as well, isn't there? Because if you give simply the obvious answer, the simplest item of vocabulary, then you're just inviting the spy to guess the location. So people have to search a bit further than the immediately obvious.
Yeah, it's kind of like hedging or being vague, being very careful, very specific with your language use. Yeah.
But they've got to search also rather than just say food. They might have to think of a specific type of food, something specific to the situation, so that it's not.
Indeed.
What am I trying to say? That they need to activate the more obscure vocabulary, perhaps.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. What was I going to mention? It's gone now. Oh, one thing that we didn't really do as a team was kind of argue with each other towards the end. Now the real what am I trying to say? The more communicative, the more authentic, or difficult language use in this game comes out at the end of the round normally, where during the round you're basically just asking questions, but at the end of the round it's, well, Rose said this, so I think she's perhaps the spy. This kind of thinking a bit more about who might be the spy. That kind of language there is a little bit more advanced. So there's kind of two layers to the game, I think, for this one. So yeah, that was Spyfall. These are the kind of things that we can do with it. And then what we'll try to do maybe next week is look at Spyfall, how Spyfall could fit in a class that's a PPP based class, or a TBLT based class, or a connected learning class. We're going to look at this this one particular game from a lot of different perspectives. And we'll be using a paper that's been published in LLP, which is called One Game to Rule Them All. With me, Rose, and Jonathan and Fabio, we wrote this paper, which looks at how one game can be used in many different contexts. Right.
It is a great exercise, actually, to look at, you know, a game and see what approach can you actually, you know, how you can approach the game in terms of pedagogy and actually use it for the language learning purpose. Yeah, pretty cool.
Okay, so we're about an hour and a half in now. I don't want to be too much longer, but I'm just going to wrap up with some more thoughts about this course. This page here, page 8 of the workbook, we're thinking about what can be learned from a game, from the game itself. For example, the images in the game, the dialogue in the game, the rule book, for example, is something that exists as part of the game where you can get language input and obviously do language output as well. But also thinking about around the game. For example, today we talked about what could you do after the game? Could you go onto Google and search for questions? Could you debrief the session, say, well, I thought you were the spy because you said this, kind of thing, you know, the language check after the game. So we're going to start thinking about the 3 layers here, like the game itself, things that can be done around the game, and then the kind of social or ecological framing of the game. So this would be, well, how does that lead to participation in an online community? Maybe you could play spyfall with native or target language speakers online. Could you think about identity? Could you think about the social impact of the game? Could you look at Reddit and then think about, well, what memes are they using around this game? So there's kind of these 3 layers that we're going to think about, not just the direct, what vocabulary does this game teach, but what can I do around it? What is the community around this game? So these are the 3 layers that we're going to dig into a little bit more next week. I have talked about this quite a bit in a paper which I published called How to Teach Languages with Among Us. I leave this for you as a reading activity, but essentially I looked at Among Us as a single game that could be taught. It has affective benefits, which means, you know, maybe students are motivated to play it. Has cognitive benefits in that students are talking to each other while they play, but it also allows students to connect with the global audience because, of course, it's a very popular game. And I showed that via this here, whereas you can see that there's Indonesian people playing this game on YouTube. There are people in the States, people in Japan playing this game. There are people in France playing this game. Essentially, you can just choose your target language and find players of this game online. So instead of just keeping the game in the classroom in the target language, you can say, well, how are actual target language speakers playing this game? And again, that links to things like Reddit, where you can see PewDiePie on Reddit and comments about that. So yeah, I leave this one for you to check out as a homework activity, because I'm getting quite tired now. Finally, just on this word ludic, it's something that maybe people are not familiar with, and we really thought quite hard about how we want to frame this class and the journal and what we're doing here. And essentially, we're looking at ludic as something that's more than game. I think the word game has a particular connotation, a particular meaning in the call research, for example, and just in general parlance. People, when they think game, maybe they think of a mobile game like Clash of Clans, or maybe they think of Mario or something digital. And we think that ludic, personally, is a mixture of game and play, more freeform play, like RPGs or even role play, debate. As you can see, we have a list of different things that we include in this word ludic. It comes from ludus, which is a Latin term, and ludus it means spontaneous play, essentially. And so ludic as a word which is kind of more inclusive and diverse and includes more different kinds of playing games. However, it has been mentioned to us that Ludic in game studies, there's a game studies literature, Ludic is very specific towards rule-based play, rule-based games. Whereas there's another word, paeda, which is more free-form play. So Ludic, for us, it encompasses games and play, but in game studies, maybe not so much in terms of play. Just keep that in mind. So, yeah, that's why this course is not digital game-based learning. It's Ludic teaching. You don't have to use digital games. We just talked about remixing Spyfall with paper. This is a very fine approach, or using fan fiction, or using just make believe. You know, that's another approach that's fine from a Ludic perspective. As I mentioned on the course document here, there are some activities for you to do towards the bottom. I will be setting up this discussion thread on Discord later today. There are some suggested readings, and yeah, I think that's basically it for week 1. Next week, we're going to be diving into pedagogy, so we'll look at all the different ways that we can teach with well, just teach languages. I invite Rose. Is she here? Oh, Rose had to leave. I invite Catherine to maybe add some comments if I've missed something. And then I invite the floor to everybody else just to give some final comments, and then we'll wrap it up. So, Catherine, do you have anything to add?
Using your own language, it was rad. Liked it a lot.
Thanks.
So even as a participant, I was so engaged. So I hope everyone learned so much and are eager to try out some games. Or maybe they can suggest some other games you have on your minds. Would be really good if you share.
Thanks. One note that next week the session will be a day later. It won't be this day. It'll be this time, but 1 day later. Okay, so please keep that in mind. Participants, any questions or worries or final thoughts or anything that you'd like to share with us?
Excuse me, James.
Yes.
I've just registered a couple of hours ago.
Yes.
So I just wanted to ask, and this session has started on 10th of January. Did I miss anything, or just?
You did not. Basically, on the 10th of January, I shared these worksheets with the community, and as a kind of reading preparation for today's session, I will do the same. Today, I will add week 2 material for you to kind of browse through before we meet next week.
Thanks.
All right. Go Daisy.
Nope. Yeah, I tried to, on your suggested reading, your suggested article is behind a paywall. I hate to be cheap, but is there some way I can get it without the paywall? Absolutely.
I hate paywalls too. I probably shouldn't be recording this, but are you familiar with, there's a website called Sci-Hub, SCI. Yeah, that basically unlocks everything. Sometimes it doesn't, but if you ever need a paper, please just send us a message in general chat, and if we have access, we will give it to you. That's not a problem. I have no problem sharing research, especially something that I've written.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that's a good point. Thanks.
I was about to ask the same, but so we can get it from Sci-Hub.
You probably shouldn't, but I'm not recommending that. For this one, I'll share it in the chat right now. I just need to locate it on my computer. Right. Yeah. Any more questions, concerns? Carlos, you had something.
Oh, yes, I was just thinking on the word Ludic, because we have it in Portuguese, I think in Spanish also we have. And Ludic, I mean, in Brazil, we had a lot of this Ludic idea on, just as you said about Ludic being use it more for play and rule-based ideas and everything. And we also have this idea of Ludic being something for children. I know it's not, and I think LLP made me realize that because I mostly never searched for Ludic on papers and everything. I searched for games because of the meaning of Ludic here in Brazil, and usually it's related to children play. But I thought this change is really important, and I think that thinking Ludic as all this whole idea of playing and thinking on playing in different forms and different realities, it's really interesting.
Yeah, I think we'd like to think of it as Ludic as game and, right? For example, I mean, it's a bit of a history of LLP, but me and Jonathan, we use board games a lot in our teaching. But if you look at the research on games, the only place that's really being published is in call journals, right? In computer-assisted language learning. And so we thought, well, board games don't really fit there. And so we thought, well, we need to generate a new area where people can actually publish on non-digital games, which was a bit of an impetus, yeah.
Yeah, and just as I read on one of your papers, I don't know if it was your or Jonathan's, it creates barriers, right? It creates barriers between what is a board game, what is a digital game. Board games do not communicate on digital games on research. You see, this research is about board games, so people don't usually read that, or people usually go to that and discard digital games, but they can mix also. You have Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes.
Yep,
it's a game that it's also physical, and there's all these layers connected. So I think it's really interesting.
Just trying to expand the field, right? Make it more inclusive. That's the idea. All right. Yeah, sorry for being a little bit scatterbrained at the end here, but I hope that the general message has come across. And yeah, look forward to thinking and designing. That's the whole idea. You putting our plans. Next week we're going to go through all the different ways that we've taught with games. Even the one that I'm the connected learning one, where you don't even need to play games. It's just using games as a source for additional learning. So we'll look at all these different ways that you can perhaps use a game in your classroom, and then you can start thinking about how you could create a lesson plan around that, around a particular game. So thank you all for joining this morning, and I hope to see you again next week. But remember, it'll be a day late. I will post in the schedule channel on Discord. I will also put the event on in different areas. And if you've got any questions, just message us throughout the week. Keep your notifications on if at all possible. Oh, and yeah, one more thing. The syllabus, the course content for participants, very important that you do this Google form. In fact, I'll copy it into Discord right here. Please complete this survey. That's important for the EVO, not just for us. All right. If there's nothing else, then I'll wrap it up, and I'll speak to you async throughout the week. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
nice seeing you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, James.
Thank you
Thanks
very
a lot.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Speak to you. Yep.
I have to
soon.
connect next time. What time is the next session?
It'd be in a week's time. Well, 7 days time.
In a week.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Right. Thank you.